Hey, what's going on, Black people? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful night. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Today, I had this crazy story I wanted to share with you guys that had to do with reparations. Apparently, there is a congresswoman by the name of Cori Bush. Cori Bush is in her approach to reparations. She was not playing when Juneteenth came around. She seems to have gotten the memo that Juneteenth should be about more than symbolism. Anyway, Cori Bush, who's out of Missouri, threw out the biggest reparations number I have ever seen in my life. It's this number so big, it's bigger than anything I've ever mentioned. The highest number I've ever mentioned on reparations was 17 trillion. That's the highest, and I reduced it to 14 trillion. That was my special number. This sister came out with 97 trillion in her reparations request, and she makes her argument. And I thought it was just so powerful, and I had to come in here and talk to you guys about it because I knew that intelligent Black people would find this interesting. First off, let me ask you all. I see Stacey Marie's in here, Michelle Wood, Karen Dorsey, Reggie Rose. Shout out your city. Let me know what city you're from. Also, how many of you agree that we need reparations? Give me a yes if you agree that Black people deserve reparations for everything we've gone through. Charles Hallman out of Trenton, New Jersey. Lewis Hayes, I see you. Ruth says, I know that's right. Carolyn Jenkins out of Emporia, Virginia. I see you, Miss Jenkins. I'm looking for a no. I see the yeses. Nicole and Pete Funkerson, Robert Campbell, Reggie, Fiva, Young Diddy. See you soon in Seattle. Yes, I will be in Seattle July 8th. So if you want to learn more, just go to boycewatkins.com. You can get all the information there. I will be in Seattle July 8th. Yeah, so so she came out with this number, and I said, "Woo!" Y'all know me. Y'all know me. I'm hard on the politicians, and again, it's all talk, right? It's all talk until it becomes real money. And also, let's just be clear. I think we'd be naive to believe that 97 trillion, was actually going to be the final outcome. But anything's possible. But let's just be honest. But I'll tell you, I was kind of excited about it. And shout out to Black Enterprise. The Black Enterprise reported the story, and I saw it on Instagram. And I was floating through my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins, by the way. And if you're not following me on Instagram, you may want to go over there. I shared a video of an FBI agent who was explaining how he would go about manipulating Black men in leadership positions, and it's a really fascinating video. It's on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins, and I think you should pay attention to this because we'd be naive to also believe that there are not people that are seeking to end our progress. I know for a fact that I'm sure there are agents that have been sent to distract me or make me mad or embarrass me in some way or whatever, because we're not just out here talking, we're actually getting things done. We've actually introduced 10 million Black people to investing for the first time in the Black Business School. We're really making a difference. And so one of the things I'd always been very careful about, and Tony Browder was the guy who really made me think about this a lot during a trip to Guyana when I bumped into him on an airplane. And he just kind of warned me. He said, he said, you got to be careful because when you're making progress, when you're really getting something done, it would be silly to think that there isn't some effort to stop you from what you're doing. So anyway, if you want to see it, just go to the Real Boyce Watkins on Instagram. The video's right there. Hit the thumbs up button, by the way. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. So let's talk about Cori Bush. Let's talk about her $97 trillion reparations offer. So there's the Black Enterprise cover, and and she's out of Missouri. She's going for the jugular. It's a lot. Obviously, this is probably also a negotiating tactic, right? When you negotiate, in case you don't know this, this is something that you should know about negotiation. You always start with a number that's higher than the number that you actually want, right? So you always start with a number that is above and beyond. You start with your dream number, and then you work your way down. I made that mistake when I got my first job. When I was negotiating to take my position at Syracuse University, I was the only Black man or woman in the entire country to get a PhD in finance that year. So I was pretty rare. And the guy offered me $100,000 in my first job, and I said, well, I don't think I want 100,000. I need a little more than that because I think I'm worth more. I think I can get more. And he said, well, how much would you want? And I said, I don't know, about 115 at least. So then the very next day, He called me and offered me 115. Well, I found out later that he'd offered my friend 140. That literally somebody else had gotten 140 or 145 because that's what he asked for, right? So never sell yourself short. That was a mistake that I made. So in negotiation, looks like Cori Bush is not making the same mistake I made. She's starting with a really hefty number, $97 trillion. That even made my eyes pop. And I'm all team black people. To the end of time. So, but here's the thing. Here's what we have to obviously consider. That number would be hard for the U.S. government to afford. If you can see it on the screen, and if you can't read it, I'll just read it to you. This is the national debt clock. And if you look at the amount of debt that the country's in right now, we're $32 trillion in debt. 32 trillion. And 32 trillion is actually a number that is massively higher than what it was just a few years ago. Just a few years ago, 32 trillion was, literally just not even considered. Like if you'd asked somebody a decade ago, how long will it take us to be 32 trillion in debt? They would have said, I don't know, maybe the year 2060 or 2050. Nobody would have expected us to be 32 trillion in debt by now. But that was from the pandemic. That was also from the financial crisis of 2007, all that stuff. So here we are as a country that also has that massive debt they owe black people. Now, the national debt is not an excuse for them not to pay us. Let's just be clear. They owe us this money. They need to pay up. And I've always said, no reparations, no vote. No reparations, no vote. No reparations, no vote. You do not get my vote unless you pay up what you owe. So now, as a result of those of us who have been pushing that hard bargain, we have been able to get politicians to talk about reparations. I know some of y'all been mad at me for years because I've been saying that for years. I've been consistent for years. And if you know anything about me, you'll know that I don't really change that much. Like once I decide I'm committed to something, I'm committed to it. And so, in fact, just on Facebook, I saw something the other day about college athletes being paid. I was writing, that's a picture of me writing for the University of Kentucky when I was 25 years old. And literally, when I was 25 years old, I was explaining why college athletes should be paid for their work. And at that time, it was seen as something that was overly radical. The University of Kentucky basketball coach told the players that they shouldn't be reading my articles. They brought a player to my office when I was teaching in the math department at the University of Kentucky, and it was almost like they had to sneak him away, like he was a runaway slave that was going to talk to another slave that was going to give him information. But that's what they do. They don't want black men or smart black men and smart black women getting together and making plans. They just don't want us doing that. So effectively, they literally told the players, do not read Boyce Watkins articles. I'm not kidding. One of the players told me that. He's a guy that eventually went to the NBA. And of course, he violated that rule, but I was kind of surprised that they took it that seriously. So my point is to say that you can't sort of think that when when you try to do something, when we try to do something collectively and it gets derailed, we can't write off the possibility that there's a tremendous amount of effort being put into derailing us. Again, as that video on my Instagram, it's right on my Instagram now, the real Boyce Watkins, as that video showed, that black FBI agent explained in detail how much work they put into studying black culture, into manipulating black culture, into entrapping black people. In fact, one of the things that he talks about in this video is he talks about how they would use a man's weaknesses to get to him. If you're stupid and you like to lay down with any girl, any pretty girl with a big booty, well, they gonna get you. They gonna get you because they know exactly how to sucker you in. That's why I tell men you got to be sexually disciplined. You got to be sexually smart. You can't be out here just laying down with anybody, or they'll have you out here looking crazy. Another thing that he brought up was he talked about if you have a drug problem, or if you like to drink a lot, or if you like to, just get into, or if you're greedy. So ultimately, this sort of thing I think about this now because we're making real progress on reparations. I think about this now because we're making real progress on economics. I think about this now because I don't think ever in the history of the black community, never in any part of black history have you ever had a person with a finance PhD literally speaking to 1 million black people a week. There's no time in the history of this country that a person with the credentials that are at the level of mine spent this much time explaining this many ideas to this many people. So if you don't think that I believe that that I could be watched very carefully, that I'm being watched like crazy? The answer is hell to the no. I know that I am. I assume that I am. If I were you, I'd be watching me too. And sometimes I'll jokingly say, look, if they tell you I killed myself and if they found me in a bathtub with a heroin needle in my arm, I need y'all to know that's a bunch of BS. But it's okay though. It's okay because I'm not afraid of that, right? I'm not afraid because we have to make investments for our community. We got to go to battle. And the thing about going to battle is you got to be tough. You got to be focused. You got to be committed. You can't be scared. So right now we got a chance, man. This reparations conversations, it used to be something that only obscure people talked about. I still remember when Dr. Julianne Malveaux, bless her heart, from PhD in economics from MIT, came on this platform and talked about how she interviewed Barack Obama years ago, and she mentioned the word reparations. And literally, she said that the minute she mentioned the word reparations, Obama said, "Stop the interview." And I don't think it's because Obama doesn't understand why we deserve reparations. I believe Barack is smart enough to understand that we deserve reparations. However, I think Barack had been told, if you want to be president, you can't let that word even come out of your mouth, right? So we gotta make it come out of your mouth, And and what Baby Love is saying here, I can't see your whole comment, but it looks like you're saying that Ukrainians are getting money in this war. Yeah, they're writing big checks to Ukraine, massive checks to Ukraine. They're writing massive checks, not just to Ukraine, but they're also might write massive checks to migrants who just got here last week. How the hell are you gonna bring people into cities like Chicago and New York and LA who just got here last week and write big checks to them, public checks to them, and then not be willing to do right by black folks who've been serving you and supporting this country and having this country's back for the last 300 years? How the hell are you gonna do that? How you going? I mean, seriously, think about that. You got a wife who's had your back for many many years, and you flying your side chicks, feed them lobster and shrimp right in front of your spouse. I don't know about y'all, but I think that we have a grievance. I think that we deserve to be at the front of the line. I don't think it's crazy to say it's our turn to get paid too. So the 97 trillion, let's just be specific. There won't be any cash payments of 97 trillion going out. That's not going to happen. What they'll probably do is have some sort of program, some systematic program that is probably on the scale of maybe 10 trillion, and a lot of it's not going to involve direct payments. What I would like to see are some direct payments. I would like to see access to land and property. I would like to see definite something happening in terms of taxes. I think if you're black, I think you either shouldn't pay taxes or your tax bill should be lowered, tremendously because you're black. Also, things like low interest or no interest loans and financing for every black business owner. Low interest, no interest financing for every black person trying to buy a home. I think New Jersey has something going on where they're letting people buy houses for $1. And so, there are lots of ways you can stimulate black economic activity without necessarily having to bankrupt the country. But what is going to have to occur is they're going to have to make it a priority. And I don't know if the United States is doing that. So I want to just say, shout out to Representative Cori Bush, who I do not know this lady. I've never met her, and I'm not really impressed with most of the politicians on Capitol Hill. But I am impressed with the fact that she's pushing the envelope. She's negotiating hard. This is how you win battles, black people. You don't win battles by being friendly. You don't win battles by being nice. You don't win battles by hoping white people decide to do the right thing. People don't do the right thing because it's the right thing. They do the right thing because you make them do it. Give me a yes if you understand what I'm saying. All right, so do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. You're watching drboystv.com, the home for intelligent black people. That video of the FBI agent talking about how he specifically infiltrates the black community, it's on my Instagram. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. I think it's important for black men and women to understand this so you'll understand just how much effort has been put into distracting our progress. After seeing this video, this FBI agent, I'm firmly convinced that they sabotaged hip hop. I used to think that it was possible that they did it. I used to think that it was even probable that they did it. Now I'm certain that they did it. I'm certain that they did because nobody knows how we went from Tribe Called Quest and KRS-One to Die Nigga Die and and women ain't nothing but bitches. I don't know how we went from positive and intelligent to ignorant and drug addicted. I don't know how we went, but the thing that I think about is when I think about with the FBI agent, he basically explained that black men are easier to take down when they have addictions. They're easier to take down when you're an alcoholic. It's easier for the police to kill you or to get you to take you off the chessboard if you have an addiction to women with big booties and you just going to go sleep and lay down with any girl who with a pretty face who walks by. Like there's a reason why, even when you think about things like police shootings, there's a reason why you never hear about a police shooting that involves a member of the Nation of Islam. You never hear about a guy from the Nation of Islam who's high on dope, walking the streets and get shot by a cop. You never hear about a member of the Nation of Islam on fentanyl getting chased by the police on fentanyl. You don't hear about that. Why? Well, because those are disciplined men. They're ready for battle. They understand the assignment. Most of us as black men are being consistently trained to be weak and irresponsible to the point that you become an easy mark. You become an easy target. And this guy explains that. If you don't believe me, go to my Instagram, the real Boyce Watkins. There's a black FBI agent who specifically explained how if they knew that they studied your psychological background, they studied your strengths and your weaknesses. And he said that if you have a weakness for women, we were going to take you down. If you have a weakness for drugs, we were going to take you down. If you have a weakness for alcohol, we're going to take you down. If you have a weakness for money, we're going to take you down. So right now, here's what's going on. I believe that with this reparations movement, as well as this Black economic power movement, which is the greatest economic empowerment movement in our community, at least in the last 100 years, maybe since Marcus Garvey and what he did. Um, I think that there are going to be agents that are placed in the space to disrupt, distract, or to destroy. I believe that they are there doing this right now. I believe that they do exist. And I used to not think that that was the case. I used to think it was paranoia to think that way. Anthony Browder was the first person to bring it to my attention. He said they did it all the time in the 70s. And then when I listened to this black FBI agent explain how detailed their analysis was, he said, oh, yeah, we would infiltrate this group and that group and that group. And he said, I infiltrated the Black Panthers in Brooklyn. But the NYPD was already in there. They already had several people in there already infiltrated. And he said, "Oh yeah, we study black culture. We know the language. We know everything that they're doing. Like literally, this guy. I mean, it was crazy. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I bring all that up because it makes me think about what's going on with this reparations thing. So I want you to keep an eye out. Basically, when you see black people out here that ain't making no damn sense, that don't want to get along with anybody, that's just disrupting and acting chaotic and not and unstrategic, in my mind, I'm thinking, what's really going on here? You could be mentally ill. There are plenty of people out there like that. Or maybe that's your job. Your job is to be unstrategic, to discredit, to destroy, or to distract. Right? So just keep that in mind. And here's the other thing too. I want to kind of lean into on this is I really want you to not have too much faith in any black leader. And I include myself in that group. I include myself. Don't have too much faith in anybody. Have faith in yourself. Think about yourself. Think about what matters to you. Think about what matters to your family. And if anything I say is not consistent with what you want for your life and for your family, then don't listen to me either. Because I can tell you that I don't really see any leadership. You are a community without national leaders. You have no national leaders because national platforms are controlled by white people. They don't want strong black leaders on national platforms. So the only leaders you have in your life are people that are closest to you, that are in your household, that love you. If you have a strong father and or a strong mother in the household, then that's your black leader. So your black leader, you are just as qualified as these Negroes on TV. Believe me, I know them. Some of them are smart, some of them are not. A lot of them are great speakers, but a lot of them also have their vices. So the best people to trust is yourself, right? So if I'm a father or I'm a mother, I know what my family needs. I know what my children need in order to be educated, successful, healthy, and able to get what they want out of life when they get older. I can figure these things out. So why do I need somebody on TV to give me any of that? I really think that part of the reason that we got so thrown apart as a community is because so many people were looking to these stupid, weird celebrities, these rappers, it's as somehow role models or something. I don't know what the hell they thought they were, but I'm just encouraging you to look away from all that. because this reparations conversation is a very serious discussion. And I personally think you should educate yourself on it. People like Dr. Claude Anderson at powernomics.com. He's written excellent books on this topic. You don't need to, you don't need to hope that your public school teaches critical race theory for you to know what's going on. We can educate ourselves. So you can go find this information on your own, make your own assessment, and then move forward with your own agenda. So I want you to think about the black agenda, but in my mind, the black agenda should be your personal agenda. What is your agenda? Do you have an agenda? So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. If you want to teach your kids about wealth, you guys know my doctorate's in finance. That's what I do. We have financial flashcards for kids. We cover everything from real estate to credit to stock market investing, everything else. So feel free to go to financialflashcards.com. Also, this podcast is on Spotify, so you can get on Spotify, look for my name, Boyce Watkins. You can find me on Spotify. And also, if you go to boycewatkins.com, I have a training called How to Make Money Without Working. So feel free to take a look at that. All right, guys. So anyway, so the final point I'll make on this is that I want to say to Representative Cori Bush, who's made her $97 trillion reparations proposal, way to go, black woman. I support you. I don't know you. I don't know her politics that well. I know she's a Democrat. I like that language. I'd like to see it in more detail. I hope that we get even a fraction of that. I like the fact that the reparations conversation is on the table. I hope that you don't allow fear to distract you from the reparations discussion. Negotiations aren't won by people who get scared easily. So if you are a punk, if you ain't ready to stand your ground, if you're not solid, then that's okay. Just get to the back of the room and let the solid black people get in front of you. So you really, if you are a flimsy Negro, then you don't need to be part of this conversation. You have to be very consistent. You cannot let them know that you're interested in compromising. You must tell them that, look, this is what we're owed. This is the amount. We have the calculations. When can we expect payment? And then when they start coming with all the excuses, all you got to say is F you pay me. You just go Joe Pesci, Goodfellas, Joe Pesci on their ass. Just F you pay me. F you pay me. Right? Because I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to have a million excuses for why they can't pay you. But they never had any excuses for why they could not pay the Ukrainians. Did they have any excuses for why they could not pay the Ukrainians? Did they say, well, we don't have the budget, sorry, it's your war, you're going to have to fight Russia by yourself? Or did they come up with the money? When the migrants all came across the border, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them by now, did they make any excuses for why they couldn't accommodate the migrants? Did they send them back home? No, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. So when you talk to black people, I need you to talk to us with the same respect you gave those migrants from south of the border. You need to have the same respect that you give Ukrainians. That I couldn't even find Ukraine on the map before that damn war. Most of y'all didn't even even know Ukraine existed before this war. Now suddenly we supposed to put Ukrainians ahead of us, and they ain't got no skin in the game. Are you crazy? Are you serious? No, I don't support any of that. So just keep focused. That's it. I would say keep focused when it comes to the elections. Do whatever you want. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for or anything like that. But as long as you don't tell me who to vote for, then we'll both be good. All right. So I'm about to get out of here. Me and my wife are going to hang out a little bit tonight. My name's Dr. Boyce Watkins, and so if you could hit the thumbs up button on your way out, I would really appreciate it. Also, if you want to get text alerts when I go live, you can text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. I'll send you messages every now and then. And also, I want to shout out a black-owned business in Atlanta that, I was down in Atlanta last week, and I did see some of my friends. We have a new movie coming out called B1 the Movie, and directed by Rick Mathis, and we did a panel, and there's some brothers and sisters on there, Madam President Andre C. Hatchett, my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins, a therapist, D1, the hip-hop artist, Christopher Emmanuel, who does a lot of fatherhood work. He's a great brother. I really enjoy talking to him. There's the image of me and Rick at the premiere, and there's a fun picture that we all took. Red Pill and Blue Pill, I think, are in that picture. And there's a brother named King Malachi, who's a great performer. And then also, I was on the Hardly Initiated podcast. That's Stevie Baggs. He's an actor. He's on the Black Mafia family and some other stuff. And he's an NFL player who said
he wishes he had never played football. That was very surprising to me. He's a super smart guy. We had a really great time sort of hanging out and talking and stuff like that. And of course, so you guys know, sometimes I do some of these shows like Breakfast Club or whatever, but I don't do too many of them. But anyway, guys, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, Atlanta is where we're hosting the All Black National Convention this year. So if you want to come and hang out with us, the All Black National Convention is the #1 gathering of B1 people all throughout the world. It's where we get together. We have panels, experts, not celebrities. We don't care about celebrities. We have a few celebrities that want to be there, but you got to earn your right to be there. We really want to lean on scholars and thinkers and people that have solutions, and we're very solution oriented. It's like a big family reunion. So if you are B1 and you want to see your community win, the All Black National Convention is a great place to be, and it's something that we're extremely proud of. So feel free to join us. It's going to be in Atlanta, October 20th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com and get more information, or you can go to boycewatkins.com. Either one. I put the information on both platforms. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon. Take care now. Peace.